Title: The Last Chance of Love. The rain was falling softly that evening, just like the tears that had been hidden in two hearts for 5 long years. A woman named Ananya was sitting alone in a small cafe, looking outside the window. In her hand was an old photograph, a picture of her and her husband, Rohan, from the happiest days of their marriage. 5 years ago, they had promised each other, "We will stay together forever." But life changed. Small misunderstandings became big arguments. Silence replaced conversations. Ego replaced love. They loved each other deeply, but they forgot how to understand each other. One painful day, they decided to separate. The divorce papers were signed. Two people who once couldn't imagine living without each other became strangers. But even after 5 years, Ananya never removed Rohan's old picture from her cupboard. And Rohan, living alone in his small apartment, still kept Ananya's favorite coffee cup on his kitchen shelf. They moved on with life, but their hearts remained stuck in the past. One evening, destiny brought them together again. Ananya was sitting in the Kiev when she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Her heart stopped. She turned around. It was Rohan. For a few seconds, they just looked at each other. 5 years of pain, memories, love, and regrets were hidden in that silence. "How are you?" Rohan asked softly. Ananya smiled with tears in her eyes. "I'm fine. I learned to live without you." Rohan lowered his eyes. "I learned to live too, but I never learned to be happy without you." Those words broke the wall between their hearts. They talked for hours that night. They talked about their mistakes. They talked about the moments when they needed each other but chose silence. They talked about the love that never truly ended. Ananya said, "We lost 5 years because we wanted to prove who was right." Rohan replied, "And we forgot that love was more important than being right." A tear rolled down Ananya's cheek. "Do you think we can start again?" Rohan looked at her and smiled. "Maybe we cannot change our past, but we can write a better future." The next day, they went to the same place where they had signed their divorce papers. But this time, they were not there to separate. They were there to make a promise. Rohan held Ananya's hand and said, "I don't promise that we will never fight again. I don't promise that life will always be easy. But I promise that whenever we have a problem, we will sit together and solve it. I will never let my ego become bigger than my love for you again." Ananya smiled through her tears. "I don't need a perfect husband. I only need the man who chooses me every day." After 5 years of separation, they walked back into each other's lives. They didn't restart their old marriage. They started a new one with more understanding, more patience, and more love. Years later, people often ask them, "How did you save your relationship after so much pain?" Rohan and Ananya always smiled and answered, "Sometimes love doesn't die. It just waits for two hearts to become mature enough to understand its value." And every night before sleeping, they held each other's hands and remembered one thing: the greatest victory in love is not finding someone perfect. It is finding someone worth choosing again and again.